Dear Future Enoch, I feel like it's been a while since I started a video like this. Do you remember how 2 years ago I introduced two friends from church to each other and they started dating? Well, they tied the knot last week. They were hoping for a less extravagant ceremony, so it's just me and a few other close friends and families in attendance in a small chapel. So, yeah, in some ways the ceremony happened because of me? Who would have thought that a completely innocuous interaction would have resulted in a wedding? We've been taught about consequences since we were young. I mean, we're taught that if we smoke, we're more likely to get lung cancer, and if we exercise and eat our vegetables, we're more likely to live into old age with good health. But no one really seems to talk about how the individual, so ordinary people like you and me, can have an impact on the world. Not just the world around us, but in some respects, the whole world. There are multiple viewpoints about this. There are those who believe that an individual cannot change the world. There are people who think that an individual can change the world, but only in a small, insignificant way. And there are those people who think that the people who can change the world are only those who are rich and powerful and have influence. And yeah, sure, the rich, powerful, influential can probably change the world with the stroke of a pen. But in some respects, anyone can change the world in a significant way, given enough time. Because think of this, this is just one interaction. I was just introducing someone that I had just met with someone that I had known for several years. That's just one interaction, and one thing led to another. They started dating, they're now married, and they're now looking to have kids. And then those kids are gonna grow up, and who knows who they're gonna meet, and who they're gonna influence, and how many other relationships they're gonna start, and how many other things they're gonna do in other people's lives. And then those kids are gonna have kids of their own, who will have kids of their own, who will have an increasingly large impact on the world around them. I mean, sure, you can't really credit me for that, because in some respects, those decisions have to be made by the individuals themselves. But also in some respects, I kind of was the catalyst. Like, I might not be personally responsible for their great-great-great-grandchildren helping someone on the street recover from a drug addiction, who then becomes the president of a country. That was obscure. But think of this. If I hadn't introduced my two friends together, they wouldn't have gotten married, they wouldn't have had those kids, and that line of action wouldn't have happened. So yeah, if you feel powerless, in some ways you kind of are. But in other ways, you also kind of are not, and you actually have a lot of power. You just don't know how it will play out. This is not consolation. I know that. But it is quite remarkable to think that simple actions that seemingly are completely innocent and ordinary can have such a significant impact in not just two people's lives, but potentially thousands. And that is certainly a much different way of looking at life. Not just forwards, but also backwards too. Like, who knows the countless people before you whom you have never met, who have no idea that you exist, who live in completely different time periods, potentially on completely different continents, who unknowingly contributed to your present existence. It is the collective decisions of everybody in the past that forms the present. And we do that for the future too. Make of that what you will. If anything, the pastor that married the two is Korean. And he said that in the Korean tradition, the person who introduces a couple to each other are owed a suit by the newlyweds. I'm looking forward to my suit. I'm kidding. I hate formal wear. Future Enoch, I'll see you next week.